Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is a short audio recording giving some brief, an overview of why I left Ahmadiyya. I'm sure anybody listening to this knows what Ahmadiyya is, of course. They believe in Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. They believe he's the Mahdi and he's a prophet. I was in Ahmadiyya for 3.5 years. Unfortunately, I was duped into believing it, to be fair, because there was so much information that was withheld from me. Things such as Mirza Ghulam claimed to be a prophet, outright prophet. This was never told. Key thing, such as Ahmadis not praying with other Muslims and not doing the janazah of other Muslims. This was never told to me, and if I was just told that from the very beginning, I would never had joined such a group, because this goes against Islam and against brotherhood. In the very beginning, or for the first, I was in it for 3.5 years. I would say for at least the first 2 years, I felt quite comfortable, because I didn't know any of these contradictory things that I consider to be against Islam, and I was just in a nirvana, just like a false heaven, really. Going around telling my family members, encouraging them to read up and check and have some courage, to read the claims of Ahmadiyya and accept Ahmadiyya as well. Of course, looking back now, I feel very silly, but it was completely innocent, and by nature I'm not a naive person, but it's because this is an Islamic thing, and I guess I did show some naivety in this area where I just couldn't believe that such a deception would actually be operating within Islam. Such a huge deception, which is Ahmadiyya, would be operating within Islam. So I did lower my guards, so to speak, and entered Ahmadiyya with a pure heart. I was actually, as I said, I was quite happy for the first couple of years. I wasn't happy with the people. I have to say that outright from the very beginning. I wasn't happy. Number one, the women, unfortunately, most of them not like 60%. I would say probably above 80%. They don't cover their hair properly. They wear the hijab. It's hideous. Most of them, you see the back of the hair showing and the front of the hair showing, but then they cover the bottom of their face. For example, many of the Ahmadi men that I used to speak to, they didn't even know much about Ahmadiyya. Now, Ahmadiyya is differentiating itself from normal Muslims by saying they have the Mahdi, and as you probably know, some Ahmadis unfortunately are being killed and things like that in Pakistan and other areas of the world, and yet they don't even know why they're Ahmadis. So I was quite disappointed in that as well, to see that a big chunk of people, they didn't actually know much about Ahmadiyya or why they're actually Ahmadi. So all these things I saw, but I put them, I brushed them to the side, because I thought, well, they're just, some people who are not good examples. But the faith itself, in my opinion at that time, I believed it was true, based on the little information that I was actually given. Now, most of Mirza Ghulam's writings are in Urdu, so obviously the reason it took me 3.5 years to leave is because I couldn't see anything straightforward. I couldn't see anything straight away in English or Arabic, because I read Arabic. It's all in Urdu, and I had to actually get somebody to translate, a very high standard Urdu speaker, to translate certain passages of Mirza Ghulam's books, for me to realize that actually these are not allegations. This is fact. Mirza Ghulam wrote these things. They are not allegations, as Ahmadi people will try to tell each other that this is an allegation, this is a lie, these are opponents of Ahmadiyya making this up about Mirza Ghulam. No, Mirza Ghulam wrote these things. For example, he says something, I'm briefly talking about things right now, because I will make further detailed audio recordings, giving the exact references and the exact wording of what he's written. But he was basically a suck-up to the British government in India. I mean, India was invaded and was controlled by these colonialists who, went against all human rights and were just stealing and pillaging and looting this massive, huge country, India, that had so much. I mean, before the British went there, they were amazing economically. They had a huge GDP. They were doing very well beforehand. The British went in there as colonialists do, to basically loot it, take everything you can out of it, give a little bit back to the Indians, but take most of it out, send it back to England because that's their base. It's a business for them. It's economic. It's not about being nice or something. You've come in and invaded their country. Anyway, Mirza Ghulam was basically a suck-up. He was a sycophant, He, for example, I've seen 11 different places where Mirza Ghulam has mentioned to the British that his father had donated 50 horses and 50 riders to fight with the British, on the British side against the Indian people. In 1857, the alleged rebellion, the mutiny. They call it a mutiny because the Indians didn't want the British to rule them anymore, but they call it a mutiny. So he boasts, he says that I found 11 different places where he's actually mentioned that. That's just one thing. In another place, he says that something along the lines of he would give his mal and jan, his life and his finance or his property and his life for the sake of the British occupiers. And this is meant to be somebody who I afterwards found out that he claimed to be the second coming of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This man, a sellout to the British invaders at the time, is claiming to be on a level or on a par with Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who Allah told Sayyidina Muhammad that if it wasn't for Sayyidina Muhammad, Allah would not have created humanity. The Prophet who brought us the Quran, the final Prophet of Allah, who brought us the Sunnah, who brought us Islam as a system of life. This Mirza Ghulam, who, if this is the first time you've heard of these sort of writings, well, keep tuned and you'll see other recordings of details of what Mirza Ghulam has written for you to see how unacceptable this man's personality is for a prophet or even as a Muslim, because if you check Mirza Ghulam's writings, you will see they're anti-Islamic. And if you're anti-Islamic, you're therefore not Muslim. If you're not Muslim, you're called a kafir. And Mirza Ghulam's thoughts and ideas, that was kufr. They're against the out of Islam completely. Now, I'm not calling innocent Ahmadis kuffar, by the way, because innocent Ahmadis don't even know that Mirza Ghulam wrote this stuff. But if innocent Ahmadis read Mirza's writings, specifically the points that I'm talking about, and they accept them, well, then they have to accept that they have become kafir themselves, because those beliefs are not Islamic. Anyway, inshallah, please stay tuned. You will hear a lot more. You have a lot more recordings to check. I'm trying to keep it brief at the moment. There isn't a lot of time actually on the recording device I'm using. So, alhamdulillah, just recap, I was in it for 3.5 years. I left it. It's a bit of a personal thing. Yes, I was married at the time. I was going to get divorced from my wife. We were separated for a while. But unbelievably and miraculously, which I couldn't believe it would happen, but my wife actually researched. She had the courage to research and stand up and actually say the truth. And that truth was that this man Mirza could never be a prophet based on the writings that she has uncovered. And alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen that she's done that. And Bi'idhnillah, we can be a benefit to many people who are in Ahmadiyya. So Ahmadis who feel there's something wrong with Ahmadiyya and they want more evidence, well, we will provide that for you, inshallah. Or people who are thinking about joining Ahmadiyya, I strongly warn you, read and check what we are going to upload, then make your decision. Because if you want to be a Muslim, you cannot join Ahmadiyya. So if you're not a Muslim already and you want to join Ahmadiyya thinking this is Islam, I please, my brother in humanity, do not do that. You are making a big mistake. So inshallah, please listen to further audio recordings, and we have our website as well. It's called www.islamafterahmadiyya.com. Assalamu alaikum.